Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me again today for another Holy Spirit Unveiled podcast. Part 6 today. I'm your host, Pastor Bill Brendel, with more about how to receive the Holy Spirit baptism. Now, if you haven't yet ordered my book, The Holy Spirit Baptism Unveiled, you are missing out on so much beyond what I'm covering in these weekly podcasts. So please order a copy on Amazon today. I promise you, once you start reading it, you will not be able to put it down. Okay, now let's get back to several important points to consider concerning how to receive the Holy Spirit baptism. Now, let me also encourage you to go back and listen to some of the preceding podcasts because we cover several important things that are absolutely necessary to understand in order to receive the Holy Spirit baptism. The importance of faith and how it works is so essential to understanding how to receive, and that can't be overstated. Now, last week, I covered a very important point about how the Holy Spirit gives us the utterance. This is really an important point. Acts chapter 2, verse 4 says that they all spoke in tongues as the Holy Spirit gave them utterance. Now, many really do not understand what it means for the Holy Spirit to give them utterance. For many years, I didn't understand it, honestly. And I thought it meant that the Holy Spirit was going to do something with my voice and my tongue. I later found out that was not true. This is an area of truth that few really understand. So let me try to clear up this very important point. When I first started seeking for the Holy Spirit baptism, I was just a young child. Now, several other young children my age received the Holy Spirit baptism in our church with relative ease. So I was amazed and even a bit jealous. I thought, well, if they can receive that easily, surely I can receive. But even though I lingered at the altar, waiting and asking for this experience long after everyone else left the altar on a given Sunday night, I could not seem to receive the baptism with the Holy Spirit. And I'll tell you, I became confused and often disappointed, but I never gave up. However, it wasn't until I was a freshman in Bible college that I finally received the Holy Spirit baptism. It wasn't because anyone taught me anything about it, nor did anyone coach me on it. It wasn't because I read a certain book on how to receive. It was because I came to a place. Somehow the Lord helped me to come to a place that I finally realized certain aspects of the operation of faith, although I didn't understand it all, only enough. And what I didn't realize as a child, I now began to realize as an adult. Somehow God opened the eyes of my understanding as to how I was finally going to receive. Now, I have to admit, I didn't fully understand it as I do now, but it was just enough to be able to receive. I had a very immature grasp of faith, as well as how to use faith to receive the Holy Spirit baptism. But God helped me struggle through the things I didn't understand just enough to receive. And I think He allowed me to go through that so that I could help others who struggle as well. Now, the years that followed, I still struggled to more fully understand what I understand now. I had moments of doubt because I still had many questions. I tend to think a lot. I'm a thinker. But somehow the Holy Spirit was there to help me. But that doesn't mean it was easy. I tend to be a deep thinker, so my intellect would often challenge what I wanted to believe. Yeah, maybe there's some of you out there that are like that. But again, the Holy Spirit was there to help me. And I'm so glad for the way it all happened because I can now explain it to others who are struggling to receive just as I did. Others can now benefit from over 50 years of my doubt and my struggles and my questions, but only because of God's faithfulness. Now, let me go back to some of the things I shared in last week's podcast. Since I was a child, I was under the impression that as I prayed and asked to be baptized with the Holy Spirit, that the Holy Spirit was going to move my tongue and give me the words to speak in a new tongue. That's how I understood him giving me the utterance. Somehow I was under the impression that the Holy Spirit was going to suddenly give me sounds and syllables of words that I didn't understand. I was waiting for those sounds and syllables of another tongue to just begin to flow out of my mouth beyond my control. It was never explained to me that the Holy Spirit baptism is never experienced that way at all. I just can't recall anyone ever teaching on how to actually receive the Holy Spirit baptism, honestly. I don't recall anyone explaining how faith actually plays into all of this, although, faith was mentioned. All I was told was to just ask and seek and worship until I received. Okay, so I thought it was just going to happen. So I asked and I worshiped until I was exhausted, but nothing ever happened. So I struggled to receive because I had no clear understanding or knowledge. But having gone through that, I can now explain to others what I myself didn't understand. I hope all of this will help you to receive so much easier than it was for me. Now, the first thing I didn't understand was the significance of the desire. Mark that word, desire. The significance of the desire that I had in order to receive the Holy Spirit baptism. I didn't understand that the burning desire, and I had such a burning desire to receive. I didn't understand that the burning desire I had to be baptized was coming from the Holy Spirit. I didn't realize that the Holy Spirit was giving me the utterance through the desire, just as he did in Acts chapter 2, verse 4. If only someone had explained to me that the Holy Spirit was giving me that burning desire, which was essentially the ability and power to speak in tongues. I had no idea that the Holy Spirit baptism was only a whisper syllable away the moment I asked Jesus to baptize me. All I had to do is speak by faith, because there was so much I didn't understand, it stifled my faith to receive. Now, I didn't understand my part in receiving, just as many today don't understand this. And of course, faith is a very, very important part of this. I thought the Holy Spirit was just going to do everything after I asked and praised and waited. What I didn't realize was that while I was waiting for the Holy Spirit, he was waiting for me. Let me explain. I was waiting for the Holy Spirit to baptize me, but he was waiting for me to receive that baptism by faith. He couldn't baptize me until I received by faith. And how did I finally receive by faith? I received by faith the moment I allowed myself to speak in a supernatural language. Oh man, I'm telling you, it was quite a moment. Okay, I'm sure this has raised some new questions in the audience. Hold those questions. Hold them. And I'm going to answer those questions in the next podcast and the one after that. Don't let the questions stop you. You're going to have questions, but I promise you, when I get done covering each podcast on how to receive, I'm going to answer all your questions. Meanwhile, please get a copy of my book, The Holy Spirit Baptism Unveiled. It will help you so much. It's available today on Amazon. Now, in my book, I answer many, many questions Questions you're probably asking right now. I answer them in my book. In fact, I answer questions that you may never even think to ask. So, reading the book as you follow me on these podcasts are going to help you greatly. Now, if you have a desire to receive the Holy Spirit baptism, don't throw that away. That's not you. That's the Holy Spirit. Let me tell you, when I discovered that, it blew me away. The desire that you have, and you probably have that desire because you wouldn't be listening to these podcasts if you didn't have a desire. But the desire to receive the Holy Spirit baptism is coming directly from the Holy Spirit. Hold on to that. Pay attention to that. You are one step very close to receiving. And next week, I will explain that more fully. Now, you will be surprised. You really will be surprised how easy it is to receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit. So until next week, let me encourage you, my friend, to be filled with the Spirit until you overflow onto others. God bless you.